Hey, welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games. It is around 2:30 on a Monday. So we are having a good day already. Okay, we need to talk. So what we have been experiencing for at least the past 3 months is like a prolonged writing slump. I've decided I'm gonna call it what it is. But also there are two things that are happening, and I think like part of it is writing slump, and then part of it is I don't know what I want my writing routine to be. And so I just keep falling back on that old habit where it's like, okay, I sit down at this time and then I go until I can't go anymore, right? But then like we've discussed why I don't want to keep doing that, right? Okay, I want a more sustainable writing habit, which means that I'm like, okay, I write for like an hour every day. For some reason, it is so much harder for me to carve out just like 1 hour to sit down than it is to just say, okay, I'm upstairs indefinitely. I'll see you when I'm hungry. One of those things, for some odd reason, is way easier for me to accomplish than the other. But because I'm trying to be a more balanced human being, the balance is more difficult to achieve. Don't know why, it just is. And so that's what we've been dealing with. So like part of it is the writing routine, and then part of it is the fact that I'm not in routine and haven't been since December. December was intense, and so was November, and I wrote 50,000 words between November and December. I was cranking out a lot of words amongst the holidays and all that, which is not all that crazy, but like I was doing those things, right? And I was going through and kind of watching some of my old vlogs just because I was like curious. I've been curious because like, why is it so hard for me to sit down? Why am I like struggling to get into the groove of writing recently? And I was like, what's going on? Am I just looking at my normal writing habit through rosy colored glasses and not realizing, oh, well, she wasn't actually writing every day. I just feel like I was. No, I'm rewatching some vlogs and I'm like, no, the routine was solid. Like I was sitting down consistently, and then I'm looking at like my track bear, I'm looking at the spreadsheet that I was keeping for word count. Like I was writing a ton. All of a sudden I'm just not. So like from like, I think my spreadsheet started in like April all the way through to December, like consistently writing all the time, every day. And like the fact that I managed to finish book 1 and like write a first draft of book 2 all in that time is like kind of nuts. That's a lot of writing. Like the proof is in the pudding, you know? So I was like, no, I really am not writing as much as is normal for me at this point. And I'm like backsliding into, I write once every like 3 months, which is not what I want. And it's what was happening before. So the question has been, what am I doing? What do I need to be doing instead? And it's like, I have a problem to solve. It occurred to me today. It was like, maybe it's normal to go through a creative slump after like pushing it for almost an entire year, like for 9 months, like just grinding really hard, come what may. Maybe there's a dip after a peak, you know? Maybe that's normal. And I don't know. I'm trying to be more comfortable with the fact that like, okay, that's where I'm at. So I just need to kind of start coming back up on the incline. And I think that all the trying that I've been doing to get on an incline is paying off. I would feel much worse if I hadn't done anything. If I had just like all these weeks of like really disjointed vlogging and really disjointed writing sessions, I would feel so much worse if I had none of that. Like I'd rather it be disjointed and a couple days apart and like something happening crazy over here and here's what I'm going to do, and then not doing it, and then 2 days later, hey, here's what I'm going to do, and then like doing half of it and then not really doing all the other stuff. I would rather have that than like, because I couldn't hit it perfectly every time I didn't do it, which is what I would prefer to do. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it well. I'm going to do it right. That mentality is good, except for when I need to just do something, and something is better than nothing. It's not been a waste. All this work that I've been putting in, and I say all this work as in like that it's been all that much, but it really hasn't been all that much. Like it could be way more, but it is not insignificant what I've put in since January. We're working a lot with Act 2 since January. Like that's not nothing. It goes a long way. Like we're in chapter 22. That's pretty good. I think last time I talked to you guys, I was in the middle of chapter 22. Yeah, I had written 2 pages. That's decent. And a lot of it was carryover from the last version of this chapter with hopefully additions and subtractions that make it better. We'll find out. There's some really weird prose in this chapter. So in the first version of this chapter, so there was a lot of trying to correct that. And then structurally, chapter 22 is a little bit weird because there's some additions of information, but like I'm not totally sold on it, on if it's all totally necessary, and like, is this actually the route I'm going with this chapter for real, or are we doing something different? And at this point, I'm just like, write what I have, write what I think works, try to follow up the other chapters that we're building to this one. You know, that's kind of where we're at. Act 2 is hard. I'm one of those that thinks Act 2 is terrible and difficult, and it could just be this book, really. It could just be Act 2 and this book is bad, which is very possible. But anyway, so that's where we're at. I don't know if I'm beginning a vlog right now. I don't know if I'm ending a vlog right now. Like, that's the whole other thing too, is like, I've just been filming clips when I've been sitting down and when I've been thinking about it. So I just have a collection, like a mosaic, not even, a collection of really disjointed clips that don't really even follow a narrative. And I'm like, yeah, I'll just edit them together and post them because that's what's going on. It means that I have no idea where I am in time and space as you're seeing me. Editing Carrie figures this out, and editing Carrie doesn't like it, but editing Carrie knows that future Carrie is just going to keep doing this until she comes up with something better, which might not happen anyway, right? Poor editing Carrie. I will tell you that I do have things coming up this week that are exciting. So it's a break week. It's a spring break. I'm excited. The flowers are blooming. The weather is warming. We've got some rain. My area gets a lot of rain, so we have spring showers, and the pollen is starting to, you know, happen. I've got daylight savings, which is just balls. I'm starting to really crave summertime and summer weather. It's like the light at the end of the tunnel is there. A coworker said something really funny the other day. She was like, I can talk it up all the time about how I don't have seasonal depressive disorder or anything like that. But then like you start to reconsider it when every time you go outside and it's sunny, you think you've eaten a gummy. Maybe you do have something going on. I don't know. Or maybe the weather is just nice. Who knows? Okay. So yeah, I'm going to tell you what the general plan is for the week. I think I'm going to write in a coffee shop this week. We're not going to stay hermit crabbed up. We're going to go out into the world and we're going to write in a coffee shop. I'm hoping to write for at least an hour in said coffee shop, and I think I can. I think it'll be great. Then, after I've written for an hour in said coffee shop, who knows? I'm pretty sure that's happening Wednesday. Like, I'm also meeting a friend at that coffee shop, so like, I'm gonna get there early and write for an hour, and then she's gonna come and we're gonna talk, and it's gonna be great. We're planning around it, so like, I will end up at that coffee shop, come hell or high water, right? Like, I'm not gonna not be there. So either I stay late and my friend leaves, or I stay early and like, but I'm gonna be at that coffee shop and I'm gonna write in the world, see the sun shine, and I'm not gonna stay in my house for an entire week, as much as that is appealing to me, because it is very appealing to me. I did go to the bookstore yesterday and I didn't film it, and that was a silly decision. That was a silly choice. Let me show you what I got. The other book is on the bookshelf downstairs, but I finished during the travel. I finished this one. And it was a lot of fun. I did not know that it was not a standalone, but I finished it. I really liked it. I think it was a solid like 3 stars. It was a lot of fun, and I definitely liked it enough. It's like the upper end 3 stars, right? Because I liked it enough to get, oh no, it bent. Bendy. I liked it enough to go ahead and find the second one, The Rose and the Dagger, which is what I went to the bookstore for, and I found it like right away. I was so happy with myself. Again, like this is like, it's barely fantasy. Like the fantasy elements in this are so, like in this one specifically, so minimal. Yes, the whole thing, I'm not gonna tell you actually, because that might be a spoiler, but like very little fantasy element that matters, that feels like it's of consequence until we get to about here. And then like, I kind of have the feeling that this one's going to be a lot more fantasy hinged. I also really like the inspiration. Feel like we're definitely like Middle Eastern or maybe even Indian inspired culture. I don't know much about her. It's cool. She used to live in South Korea. The culture that inspires the kingdom that this is set in is pretty cool. So I enjoy it a lot. Yeah, I will be reading this. I don't know when, but I will be finishing it up, the series, and that's what I got at the bookstore. So yeah, it's more romance than it is fantasy, and it is YA, so it's pretty clean, but I didn't feel like it was any less intense. That was cool. Okay, and then I also got C.S. Lewis. Do we want to go see? I don't have any C.S. Lewis on my shelves. Is that amazing? Is that crazy? Except for this one. Where'd I put you? It's short. I could read it in a day, and I wonder if I will. I'm gonna try and do that. I've done it before. Should I do a bookshelf tour? I feel like that would be a lot of fun. I think that's all I got to say to you for now. Welcome to the journey. I hope you enjoy. It is 7:30. There's still daylight out. I feel like that's a pivotal thing to discuss. And also, no, I'm not worried about not sleeping. I'm gonna be fine. Don't worry about me. I just figured I'd hop on and let you know that we're in the middle of chapter 22 still, because I haven't written consistently for the past week. And also because this scene is weird and I just don't know if I want to keep it. But we're writing about Project Comet, and if you've been paying very close attention, if you've been eagle-eyed, you know that I still am, like, I'm wishy-washy on the whole Project Comet situation. I don't know why it's here. Like, I have a reason. I just don't know if it's a very good reason. I think it's gonna come up later. I think that's why it's there. In other news, that's what I'm working on. Maybe I finished the chapter today. I don't know what else. I need to add some stuff, but I don't know what to add. Anywho, talk to you later. Hey, it is Wednesday, March 11th. It's Wednesday, March 11th at 11 o'clock. I am going to a coffee shop today. I'm very excited. I'm going to meet a friend. I'm going a little early and I'm going to do some writing at said coffee shop until my friend gets there. And I'm excited. That's basically the plan. That's all I need to say, truthfully. I did get through last night. I got to call it like a stopping point for chapter 22. So chapter 22 is split into two parts, from what I understand. I originally had it split into two, so I think I'm going to leave this how it is, and I think I need another, like I'm replacing part 2 with another part 2, if that makes sense. I think that's what I'm gonna play around with, because I need to add some things, some information, some character, some things to chapter 22, I believe. But I also think that I need to like kind of reconsider whether or not what I have needs to exist anyway. Yeah, I think I mentioned this before, but this chapter like might be completely unnecessary. It's cool, it's interesting, it kind of moves things along a little bit, but it's not like super important. It's one of those things where it's like you assume that this took place, but why not, instead of telling you that it happened, why don't I show you that it happened? Does that make sense? Probably just need to inject more into it and make it just a little bit more consequential, but I don't know. To milk it or not to milk it? Like, those are the questions. Like, and I just don't know if I keep it or I replace it with something. And if I replace it with something else, like what? That's where we're at. So I think I've got this draft to a readable, like definitely a level up in terms of prose. It's a little better. Like I've gone through and, changed things. It's mostly a direct copy of draft 1, but it's definitely better. I've rewritten several pieces, but it's an easy scene in terms of like its mechanics. Like there's not anything crazy happening. It's just a scene that I'd rather show you than tell you about. I think probably what I'll work on at the coffee shop is like whether or not I continue with chapter 22 or whether I just put a pin in chapter 22 and continue, because I have some of Ghost's chapters next. That's where we're at. So I'm gonna leave in like probably 30 minutes. You're welcome to come with me. I don't know how to film in a coffee shop. This is something that is normal, difficult things to do, but it's really cute. The vibes in this place are just the best. So see you guys there. As you can see, I have a little bit of a mess. I want to rearrange my bookshelf. I've been writing for about an hour and you know, it's been going well. Nothing really to write home about. And I was just kind of feeling a little bit bored. I think maybe I need a break. And I've been thinking about rearranging this shelf for a hot minute. And I figured, what better time, what better way to do such a thing than to film it? So that's what I'm gonna do. My husband develops film at home, and so there's a bunch of like film development stuff over here. We don't have a ton of space, so piles of stuff is just inevitable. Both my husband and I are pack rat. We don't really get rid of things like we do. That's not totally fair. We both like a clean, not super cluttered house, but I don't know if you've noticed, but there's just like things end up in not great places. But anyway, back to the bookshelves. I think that I will try and unhaul a few things. I'm gonna either, well, it's either gonna be like I read it in the next month or so, or it goes bye-bye. And I prefer to get rid of it after I've read it because it's on my shelf for a reason, because at one point in time I did want to read that. And so I do want to read, or at least give it the good old college try before I give up and get rid of it. So there's like 2 or 3 books that I feel like I want to do that with. That's not very much. Like pretty much everything on this shelf I have read and have loved. So, well, that might be a little generous. I'm saying pretty much everything. I mean, like most of the stuff. I feel like these shelves have been pretty much read. We'll see if I end up getting rid of anything. Okay, now we are positioned. I've got all that mess out of the way so I can access all my bookshelves. This is my hair. I put it like this intentionally. It looks ridiculous. I've got a couple of things. Why not? I want to show you guys kind of what it looks like before and then let you know what's going on. Essentially, there's a few books that are on my nightstand that I need to have space for, and like just some other things that I want to make room for. I would like to get that squared away. So I do want to kind of arrange this bookshelf with my nightstand books in mind. So I'm gonna go get those because I want them to have a home. It's not too many at all. I've done really well. We need room for these guys. Ringworld technically has space. He lives right here. But when Ashes of Man goes back on the shelf, I won't have room for him anymore. The shelves are clean and dusted, and I have a stack of books that I would like to show you that I will either read or lose. These are them. And I'm gonna go through them super fast. Ready? Okay. I don't know what decision I will ultimately come to on them. However, they're in the stack. This, I am very curious to read. A couple things that I don't like about it already is I hate this design on paperbacks. I hate it. Like, that is just asking to be bent back and folded when I'm trying to put it on a shelf. Like, it's just asking for disaster. But I am very curious about this book. I kind of have read the first chapter, as you can see, but that happened a while ago. And I do think that I would like it. So I do want to finish it, but I just haven't picked it up again, so that's why it's on the stack. This is a special edition that I got in an owl crate. I think I had Illumina crate. I think it wasn't a Illumina crate, but I think it's so beautiful. Let me show you the cover. Like, are you kidding me? The last thing I want to do, and it's signed, the last thing I want to do is unhaul it. Honest, I want to keep it, but I can't. I never reach for it. I haven't read it. If I read it and I like it, it stays. If I read it and I don't like it, it goes. If I never read it, it's gotta go. And that's gotta happen eventually, right? Same deal with Until We Shatter. I think this is a sci-fi situation. It looks like so much freaking fun. But like, is it a priority of mine? No. It's also another Illumina crate edition. I had Illumina crate for a little bit, as you guys can see. I feel like I would have so much fun with these books. It's just like, am I prioritizing them? These are standalones though. So like, as far as I know. So like, why wouldn't I read them? Another one that I'm like pretty sure I would love. I just gotta read it, right? I've heard mixed reviews on this one. I love a good ocean boat type story. I need to actually read this. The Adventures of Amani Al-Sarafi. I feel like I want to read that. I do. Why wouldn't I like it? I don't know. I just need to read it, and things take priorities. Like, we're reading it or we're getting rid of it. That's the situation. Same thing with this one. It was a Christmas present. I need to just pick it up and read it. And if I like it, I keep it. If I don't, but I just keep not reaching for it. It's got footnotes. Oh, that might have just bumped it up to number 1 on my list. This one, I met the author, which is the problem. I met the author and I was like, okay, so like, I want to be an author. It was one of those moments where I was like, I met her in person. She was at a Barnes & Noble event. And I was like, you know, someday I'm gonna be this lady, right? Soliciting at a Barnes & Noble for someone to read my book. And so I bought it and I was like, this is what I would want. This is my dream. This lady is living my dream, a living, breathing, new author. Like, and the premise sounded good, but I don't even remember what it was, but I'm just like, either read it or get rid of it. That's where we're at. And then I have my first kind of, second, it's kind of similar to the Dune thing. So I read Deadly Education. It was fine. I read The Last Graduate. I liked it less. But I'm like, I'm a slut for pain, first off. But then I hate quitting. And I'm so close to finishing. And like, this could really be a good one, you know? Like, I find the main character really difficult to like. And that's part of the reason I have a hard time with this series, is mostly because I don't love the main character. I love the premise of the school and the way that monsters work. I think it's a lot of fun. It's very exciting. Can I get behind rooting for this main character girl? But I feel like the way this one ended, like, there's a lot of potential for this. So I will either unhaul the whole series, because it was basically like a 3 to 2 star for me, or finish it and then unhaul it, because I ultimately didn't love it. It's just, when am I going to unhaul it? So that's my stack of books. I might add to it. I know I'm a pack rat, I've said it before, but I don't need to be. I can change. I'm in control. So I'm watching Pride and Prejudice Zombies, and I'm gonna try and arrange this bookshelf. Wish me luck. I'm gonna need it. And I have finished it. Look at how beautiful. I love the way it looks. It looks visually interesting. I didn't organize it in any sort of way exactly. I did keep some of my favorites more front and center, but I also kind of shifted things to where most of the books that are read are stacked, and then more of the books that I haven't read are more easily accessible. For example, these I haven't read, and so, you know, they're grouped together, easier to reach for. Kind of trying to move things that I want to read to more front of mind. Some other books that need finishing, there's only 3 on this shelf that I've finished. Anyway, it's like I said, it's not even hardly organized in any real way. I just did it in a way that looked nice and inspired me to pick things up off the shelf, and a little bit sorted by priority. So that's where we're at. Books I definitely want to finish, at least this year, are Facing Out and are easy for me to identify and remember that I have. So like The Strength of the Few, Leviathan Wakes, Hyperion, Artificial Wisdom, Relic. Those are all like out. And what else do I have? I have the Sword of Kaigan that I really want to read, and it's like staring me in the face now. So that's how this works. Anyway, I love my bookshelves. Aren't they beautiful? So with that out of the way, I'm gonna get back to some writing. We are in the middle of the grapevine situation. Well, not in the middle, we're almost to the middle. We're in chapter 23 and I'm having a good time. I am noticing that the setting, even though it's supposed to be a space station, it reminds me a lot of a shopping mall, like from the early 2010s. I'm not complaining. I think I like that visual, but it's also just like a little bit uncanny, and I'm like, okay. Like the fountains and the plants and the vendors and just the way it's set up, I'm like, oh, it reminds me a lot of a shopping mall. There's definitely some things to cut from this section of the story, but I'm not entirely sure what. We're gonna get to a good bit in a short while. We're gonna get to one of Ghost's major failures in the book, and I like it. I think it's good. What happens after, I've mentioned. Does he blow up the thing or not? That's what we're not sure of. We're not even sure if he goes to the yacht. That whole thing needs to be rethought up, but we're not there yet, so we're writing until we get there. Join me in the journey. Okay. Then you sit back and look at it all and you go, how nice. Okay, I'm gonna get to writing, and if my head could stop hurting, that would be great.
Look, I look exactly the same.
This is where the real transformation happens, okay? I was told unreliably by some rando on the internet that the more that you have to draw on your eyebrows, the crazier you are. And while I don't believe that my source is credible, I am led to believe that I am in fact as crazy as I appear. Given that I have imaginary friends that I decide to spend anywhere from 12 to 40 hours a week with, and write entire realities for them to live in. They're not all friends, but they all kind of know each other, you know? They interact. They have full-on freaking conversations with each other. And none of them exist. The physical plane in which they inhabit doesn't exist. And the rules and conventions of, like, modern-day Earth don't exist. But that's what I spend a majority of my time. Like, my brain space is mostly occupied by these imaginary little friends. And then I did the real unhinged thing and started talking about it on the internet. So like, not only do I have imaginary friends, but now multiple people know about it and it's like normal or something. In fact, people will pay to meet said imaginary friends. And the more I talk about these imaginary friends, the more real they are. And we gave this phenomenon, this crazy phenomenon that happens to the human psyche at some point when it fractures and cracks and falls apart or something. We gave it a name, gave it a job title, and we look for these people and hope that they are good at imagining imaginary friends and physical planes in which they can exist, because if you do a good job at this, you make a lot of money. Well, someone does. Ideally, right? Might not be you. You're the crazy person, remember? But someone does. And then after all that pain, they go, not crazy enough for like maybe 6 to 12 months or longer. I don't know where I just pulled that number out of my ass. It's not even true. Yeah, you just do it again with a different physical plane and different imaginary friends. Sometimes close relatives to the first imaginary friends. And somewhere along the line, we decided this was an industry. And like, that's the fiction industry in a nutshell. It all starts with some crazy lady with a pen. So, I don't know how I got on that, but now that my eyebrows are drawn, I think I forgot the crazy. The crazy left my body. Now we can fool the people into thinking that everything is completely normal. Happy Friday.